Got a little bit. So anyway, I think that we will go ahead and get started. So my name's Becky Songa. I'm the online video marketer, and a couple times a month I host a video program called VIDEO+ Hangouts, where we talk about everything related to video marketing and a whole lot more. Video, of course, does not operate within a vacuum on the internet. We have to have websites and social media sites and blogs and all sorts of things to post it to, and so it's my honor today to have Simon Hunter from Remedy One, who's going to be here and talk to us a little bit about WordPress, and specifically answering the question, why WordPress? Now, for those of you who have been on the Hangout before, you know that the format is generally for the first 15 minutes. We have a little bit of a presentation either from me or from our guest speaker, and then we go into some questions. And I have a few questions that have been emailed to me already, but anybody else who'd like to answer questions, go ahead and post them in the video box, which is right underneath the video player. If you're on my website, or if you're over on Google Hangouts Live, then I can answer your questions that come up there as well. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Simon Hunter from Remedy One. And Simon, I'll have you introduce a little bit more of yourself and tell us about you.
Okay, thanks, Becky. Firstly, thanks a lot for you to come and talk to your audience.
I can't hear you anymore, Simon. Can you hear me? I can see you, but your audio is not coming up. Is your microphone plugged in all the way? Hang on with us for just a minute while we take care of this little technical glitch. Okay, I was hearing you at first, but I don't think Google's hearing you or your picture would be live. Can you talk now?
How about now? Yeah, testing.
Yep, there you go. So yeah, Google will switch back and forth from whatever voice it hears, so that's how I know if Google is hearing you or not. So okay, let's try again.
Great.
So go ahead and introduce yourself, Simon.
Okay, so my name is Simon Hunter. I am with Remedy One. Is it working now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So Remedy One is a web development firm that's been around since 2000, the year 2000, and in that time we've done a lot of custom work, developing work in our own proprietary framework, which is called Cactus. And recently we've been noticing a lot of our clients are moving over to WordPress, which we also develop for, and there's a lot of advantages that we've noticed from WordPress versus going with something completely custom out of the box. And basically, you can get everything that you want to achieve 90% of the way with WordPress that you could with a fully custom site. So at the moment, we're actually recommending WordPress over our proprietary CMS system.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been really revolutionary for us. It means we can get our customers what they want, in most cases quicker and cheaper than doing something completely from scratch. And there's a lot of different ways to customize, so we pretty much can get most of that functionality in their website using that WordPress framework too. Now that runs everything from a simple informational website like a brochure all the way to, we've had some pretty complicated e-commerce, like online stores and things like that. And there's frameworks and there's plugins and various ways to do pretty much anything you want. The sky's the limit. And then, if you do want to customize it, it's built on a language called PHP, and it uses an open source database called MySQL. I mean, that's all very technical. You don't need to know that stuff, but what that means for us as developers is that we can extend it really as far as you want it to go. So it's pretty cool program.
Yeah, that is cool. So for a lot of the people who join me on these VIDEO+ Hangouts, they're entrepreneurs. Some of them already have websites. Some of them have HTML websites that they're thinking about migrating to WordPress. And then some people are just starting their businesses and are thinking about a website and what they should use. So why, if you could, sum up, why would a new entrepreneur who's either going to a developer like you and having their site developed, or considering even developing and designing their own, why would they use WordPress?
Well, the number one thing about WordPress is it's so easy to use. It sacrifices some things to be easy. Now, if you've got someone who's got an HTML website that they've programmed by a relative programmed by hand, or someone programmed that, diving into that stuff, it's great. I love it. It's fun for me, but for someone whose business is selling handbags, it's not really going to be as fun. Or someone who sells bicycles or something. They want to focus on that side of the business, not on developing and learning how to program. So WordPress, the interface is like a Microsoft Word, or a very familiar interface that you can then point and click, and what you see is what you get. Very, very simple and easy to use. So that would be the main advantage. The second advantage versus having us develop a custom website out of HTML or something from scratch. The benefit of using WordPress in that situation is you're just going to save a lot of time and a lot of money, because we can start with a website that's 80% built already, so we don't have to spend a lot of time building a password system and the text editor and the image system. It's already all built in, so you save time and money that way.
Great. So if somebody were going to come to you, maybe a new entrepreneur or entrepreneur who's already got a website but wants to have it changed to WordPress, or maybe redesigned, what do they need to start working with a developer? What are you going to ask them to bring to the table when they meet with you?
Okay, well, that's a good question. It's a good question because what we like to do is make sure we're on the same page with the look that they like. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to is it a flat website with a very kind of modern look and sections that scroll up, or do they need a lot of moving parts? Is it clean and modern, or is it busy with things going everywhere? What do they want to achieve out of it? The best way we can get a sense of that is if they can provide us with 3 or 4 websites that they like the look of, that we can be inspired by. And then 3 or 4 websites they absolutely hate. That also helps us. If they can say, these are the worst websites in the world, we don't want anything like this, we can take that information into account. Then things like how soon they need it, and that's also another one is, do they need multilingual capabilities, which WordPress can do? And then is their focus going to be on, for marketing the site, is it going to be through pay-per-click or through SEO, or what is their focus as far as their traffic goes? Because all that will affect different types of things that we use. And one more thing, another good consideration is smartphones. Do they want their website to look good on an iPhone, or just for desktops? I think it's something like 50% of Americans are looking at the internet on a smartphone, so that's important to consider before you start the project.
Yeah, so that's almost half. So, if I was going to be developing my website right now and working with a developer, I would think that probably considering having a website that could be viewed on a mobile platform would be pretty important if I don't want to have to redo or modify it maybe sometime down the line. Would you say?
I would definitely agree with that, and even your search engines are taking that into consideration. How does it perform on a smartphone? That will relate to how well it performs in the search engine rankings. Excuse me. Yeah. And so there's 2 ways of doing that. The first way is called adaptive, and the second way is called responsive. And adaptive, it figures out what device is looking at the site, and it serves a different site based on which device is looking at it. And responsive just resizes that website so it fits the screen. And I think Google has come out and mentioned that they do prefer responsive websites, and so that's what we like to do as a responsive WordPress website.
Great. I have a couple of benefits. Now, you already mentioned that it can save people money. And we're talking about accessibility right now, basically being for the mobile platform and as well as a desktop type platform. Can you tell me about speed of communication? How does WordPress help people communicate with their audiences on a more regular and consistent basis?
Okay, well, so I'm guessing you're referring to blogs and things like that. Is that kind of what you're? That's
Yeah.
one of the ways. I guess it's one of the ways. WordPress started out as a blog. It's designed as a blog, and basically everyone's been duct taping different functionality on top of it for since it was created. So it's at the core, it's a blog. So it's designed for regular postings. It's designed for it has a comment system built in, which you can even upgrade that to more robust comment systems. But you can make those comments yourself. Then it has RSS feeds built in, which is where when you post a blog, your readers are automatically notified. So that's built into WordPress. And then it's got a whole bunch of social sharing plugins that you can use to link your blog posts with Facebook and Twitter and even Google+.
Great. Um, so you're talking about social network friendly, which I have as one of the benefits that I like, I enjoy about WordPress is it's so easy
You
to
use
link
WordPress
everything up.
for your site, correct?
Yes, I do. I
Your
use
site is.
WordPress. Yeah.
What do you think of it? How has it been for you?
I love WordPress. I think the only negative thing that I have to say about WordPress is that it can be a little bit slow sometimes. So when
Yeah.
you get
Oh,
in there and you
I'm
think,
glad
oh,
you.
I want to make this change or I want to do
Yeah.
this, it can be a little bit clunky, especially when
Um,
you get to have a larger website. I have quite a bit of content. It slows down a little bit. So.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the main criticisms of WordPress is that it's just so slow, and that's why I've been on a bit of a performance kick lately with trying to optimize speeds because it is based on older technology. PHP is an older technology, but there's things you can do with caching and with different plugins and with even some really cool stuff like varnish and even the more you get into the performance stuff, the more you can actually make them really, really fly. So
Mhm.
maybe we can talk about that later. But
Yeah.
performance is, yeah, that's one of the. I agree with you. That's one of the weaknesses of WordPress. You gain a lot in the ease of use, and you have to sacrifice a little bit in the performance at first.
Right. Are there any other, we've talked about several benefits, and this is the only negative really that we talked about. Are there any other cons to using WordPress?
Yeah, well, it's a framework, so you're kind of stuck with the benefits of it being easy and cheap. Equate to it being not custom. It's not custom. You can't expect it to do exactly what you want in the most efficient way. So it seems like pretty much everyone's using WordPress in a roundabout way that it wasn't quite designed for, and so that's people like you experience it being slow a little bit because it's you're pushing it to its limit, and if you went with something custom, if you had if you wanted to go that route, you'd find that you'd be able to develop something from scratch that fit your needs a lot better and was probably much more expensive, but much more efficient. I think that would be that's the one of the main weaknesses. It's it's not right for everything. So
Okay. One last question that I had for you during this interview portion is what are, maybe 5 to 7 of your top plugins that you feel
oh
like,
yeah.
pretty much almost every WordPress site should have?
Okay. Well, firstly, the minimum amount of plugins you can have, the better for your performance and for your site speed. So I'm all about making things as minimal as possible so my sites run as fast as possible. But that said, there are a couple of plugins that are really important for WordPress. Um, there, I've, there's groups, and the first group would be performance. So you're going to want to cache that site. There's two main caching plugins. One is W3 Total Cache,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very, very complicated and very robust, but very good. And then a simpler cache is WP Super Cache, which is good for shared server situations. And then moving on to SEO. In my opinion, the best SEO plugin is the WordPress SEO by Yoast. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
That's what I use. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great because it gives you these little green lights when your site is optimized and looking good. It gives you a little green light, and you know, okay, I can forget about that one, move on to the next one,
Right.
and it all looks good to the search engine. So I'd say they're kind of technical ones. As far as mobile functionality, if you decide that you wanted to make a different website served on a mobile device, you can use a great plugin called WP Touch. That basically sets a separate theme for mobile users. We don't do that. We prefer to do responsive just because that's what Google prefers.
Mm-hmm.
But some people really do like the idea of having a separate site for mobile devices. I would use WP Touch for that. Another good one, I've got three more good ones I'd like to share with you. There's for
Okay.
multilingual sites. It's WPML. It's pretty much the only one. It's the best one. We have a lot of clients that want to sell things or present things in English and Spanish or English and French, and WPML is the best one for that. Then one I can't do without is Contact Form 7. And what I've gotten into with Contact Form 7 is it has capabilities to track user actions on the form and send that information to Google. So you can use a sales funnel or a conversion goal. If your conversion is someone to contact you, you can really measure that using Google Analytics. It plugs right in and talks to it. So that's been really valuable for us.
And can that one integrate with an autoresponder program like Aweber or Constant Contact or something like that?
You know, I'm not totally sure about that. That's a good question. I'd have to check up on that. But it's called Contact Form 7, and really, I think I'm going to assume that it can because it's very customizable and you can modify all that code yourself.
Great.
So I assume it can. And the last one I just have to tell you about is WooCommerce for making online stores.
Right.
It's phenomenal and open source, so it's great.
Okay. I did have a couple questions that came in about plugins, and one is there a good membership plugin that you recommend? If they have a membership site and want to lock in, certain information and things that their products or services that they might be selling behind a membership.
Yep, there's a couple of great ones. Like I mentioned, WooCommerce is good, and they actually have subscriber plugins and then membership levels. They're all add-ons that go on there. The great thing about WooCommerce is the support is so good. Their ticketing system is fantastic. So if you have any questions, they can answer them for you. And whatever you can't do, they can do it with subscriptions. I mean, with extensions, not subscriptions. So you can extend the plugin a lot. And then another one that I've used in the past has been Wishlist Member, and I've used that a lot. That's been great too. I'm not sure on the status of whether they're still updating that or how active they are. You might know.
Wishlist, I think it's pretty active. I actually
Yeah.
just put it on my website. I haven't actually. I had it active, and then I noticed that all of my blogs were. I put out a post, and somebody's like, "I can't get into it without a membership."
Oh,
So
no.
I obviously had something set up wrong. So I deactivated it. I need to look into it more before I bring it live again. But that's definitely something I want to do. I've got some products I would like to put behind a membership. So.
Yeah, I like that side, and I've got a developer license for that plugin, just because I think it's great, and that will definitely integrate with all of your Aweber and all these autoresponders with no problem.
Right.
And shopping carts and everything. Good plugin.
And the other question I had about plugins was, last year we had a lot of security issues around logins. Do you have a plugin that makes the login more secure and keeps people from being able to log in and do things crazily on your website or blog?
There are some security plugins. We don't use them that much. We prefer to hide the addresses of our sites manually. But there's one, I think you can get it from Themeforest, that someone wrote a fantastic camouflage plugin for WordPress. I can't remember what it's called, but they have it out there. it's pretty cool. Like, it basically camouflages that you're using WordPress, because everybody knows that if you know the version number of the WordPress that people are using, and if you know if you can view the source, you can tell where everything's located. So it is a good question to be able to make that more secure. But
I know I use login lockdown, which just makes it so that nobody can sign in. If they try more than 3 times, then it basically locked out, which seems to, do the trick. I haven't had any issues, but I'm sure there's variations of different things that could work better.
And common things like don't use standard, like I think back in the day it used to just create an admin user that was called admin, and that was the name
Yeah.
of the default name. So
Well,
if you have an old,
unfortunately, you can't change that.
yeah, it's madness. So that is a big problem.
Yeah. And then I had another question about webinar plugins. What kind of webinar plugins do you recommend if somebody wants to actually have a live webinar on their website, which is actually what I'm doing now, so I can tell you what I'm using, but maybe if you have something that you recommend.
I saw you're using it's Webinar Ignition. I think that's what you're using.
Correct, yeah.
And that one is what I would recommend. You have more expertise than I would about that kind of thing. So
that's the only one that I've used. Last year I was doing all my webinars and live broadcasts using GoToWebinar, and it was about $400 a month, I believe, and you can only have 1,000 viewers online with you at a time. So last year Webinar Express came out, which was kind of the first version of what is now Webinar Ignition, and so I decided to go ahead and test it out. The nice thing is you can use a live stream, whether you want to use Google Hangouts, which is what I'm using, or live stream, or let's see, Ustream, I believe you can use as well. You just need a live stream embed code, and then you put that in. And another thing that I really like about it is that it also has a really nice opt-in page. So it will create an opt-in box for you. You can have video or just a picture up there next to your opt-in box, tell people what it is, have them sign in. It does connect to whatever email autoresponder program that you might be using, so it'll automatically help you build your list. And it has a really nice thank you page that people can click on a button and actually load the event into their calendar after they've registered. And then the live console, which has a Q&A box underneath it, which is really nice. I can look at the live questions and answers that come in, tells me who's asking them and what their question is, and it will show me if I've answered the question yet or not. So that's kind of cool too. So there's a lot of nice features to it. I think probably the best thing is that it's $97 to put on one site, or you can buy a developer's license. I'm not sure how much that is, but you can put it on your website, and then from there on, your webinars are basically free. So it's just really a great resource for people who are starting to do webinars, or even for people who have been doing them for a while, but would really like to reduce that $400 a month cost. Or more. You have to pay for more if you want more than 1,000 viewers, and be able to do them basically for free after you make the investment into the plugin. So that's why I like that one.
So now the webinar, this Webinar Ignition, it's not actually hosting or streaming itself from your WordPress server. It's hosting it from a third party like Ustream.
Yeah, so the stream is actually coming from a different source, but you're just embedding the code into your WordPress site. So it really works out nicely because you can still do a lot of list building. Like, say for me, I'm hosting this on Google Hangouts. It's great I can invite all of my followers over on Google+, but for them, watching it and viewing it over there, I'm not getting their information so that I can actually start, relationship building and making offers to them, other than during the Hangout. But with embedding it over here on my website, I can actually not do an invitation to the Google Hangout over on Google+, and instead invite people to sign in through the opt-in form, and then have them actually watch it and send the link over to my live site. So it works better as far as list building, and trying to get people into your lead generation and your marketing funnel.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Let me look and see if we've got any other questions. I have to switch over here to my live console. Okay. I have a question here from Betty, and she asks if you have like a step-by-step system for what you should do for each blog post to both do the SEO as well as keep your content so that it doesn't seem like it's just SEO heavy.
Oh yeah, well,
that's how she describes it.
That's where a plugin like Yoast, the WordPress SEO plugin, is going to come in really handy. You wanted a step-by-step checklist. I think you're very safe if you focus on the number one thing being value, providing value and making it compelling and interesting to your audience. So you'll be able to tell. I think everyone can tell if an article is spammy, and if you're not providing anything useful, I would say it's probably better just not even to bother writing that blog post and save it until you can find something that's actually useful. That's the first step on your checklist. Then having things like a proper heading structure, like using H1s and H2s and all that technical stuff. That's stuff that a plugin like SEO, WordPress SEO, can really guide you through. And makes it very simple. But I think that stuff just pales in comparison to the importance of having it be valuable. So I hope that answers your question somewhat.
So the valuable content first, and then using a tool like SEO Yoast. Now, for those of you who don't use it yet, I'll just describe a little bit. When you create a post on WordPress, you can look down at the bottom of the post into the area where SEO Yoast is displaying the SEO value of what you've posted. So it will ask you what your focus words are, or your key search terms that you're going to use, and it analyzes your blog post to see if it's found in there. It looks at your titles. As Simon mentioned, it looks at headings and things like that, and it will give you suggestions. And it will actually give you there's a little button there, and it's either green or yellow or red. There might be orange too, but it basically tells you if you're heading in the right direction as far as SEO. So, but I agree with Simon that first you want to make sure that your content is valuable, and then you can kind of go in and mess with things to increase the SEO on it. But you don't want to do it in such a way that it makes your content invaluable because you're weighing too heavily on your SEO.
Yeah, there's things like in the advanced tab of that SEO plugin box. It will tell you, it'll give your grammar a score, so you'll get a score out of 10 for ease of reading. And there's all things like that you can follow. Very, very straightforward, and you can just bang them out, knock them out, one after the other, as long as your content is useful.
Great. And Betty actually has a follow-up question. Does SEO Yoast work on pages as well, or is it just an SEO tool for your blog posts?
Oh, it's fantastic. It works for everything. It works for categories. It works for tags. It works for your entire taxonomy. It works for everything. So yes, the answer is yes.
Great. Okay, and let's see, I got another question here. For some reason, okay, Mark, your question, maybe if you could try resending it. Mark sent in a question, but the text kind of turned into gobbledygook. I'm not sure why. So let me refresh my page and just see if I can get it to display right. But if not, Mark, could you just try sending your question again? Let me see if I can get this to upload here, or update. Okay, it's not coming through. I'm going to go over to Google Plus and just make sure that I don't have any audience questions over there as well, since we are live on Google Plus. So it's thinking right now. Is there anything else, Simon, while we're waiting for that you can think of that we missed talking about, or maybe something that these questions have brought up for you that you want to?
Yeah, I think the questions about SEO really just reinforce that everyone's thinking about SEO, and the first step has to be providing value to your audience. It's all about being the most valuable. We can tell how long people are spending on our websites now with analytics. We can tell the time they're spending and the bounce rate. And one, a good way to improve the time is by having video. What you specialize in, Becky.
Mm-hmm.
So I just would reinforce content over any kind of trying to game the system. Just like try to provide real value and connection at first, and then it's
Great. Mark, thanks for resending your question. It did turn out this time, so that's great. Mark's question is, do you have a certain platform that you use? I'm guessing he's talking about a theme.
Oh, a theme, yeah. Well, there's so many great themes out there. I like to use Themeforest to choose them, but I wonder if you're talking about like theme frameworks. Do you think that's what he's talking about?
Yeah, I'm guessing he's talking about maybe possibly the best themes.
Yeah, okay, well there's a couple of frameworks that these companies have. One is called Genesis, the Genesis framework,
Mm-hmm.
and another one is made by Woo Themes. It's like a Woo framework. I've had a lot of experience with the Woo Themes. We do a lot of work with them, and I like them. I don't have any favorite ones. Genesis is great, but I've noticed that some of the designs aren't terribly good. It's a range. I've had a lot of luck with Woo Themes with their framework. That's woothemes.com, and
Mm-hmm.
then because they're very responsive and they do everything they're supposed to, and they can be optimized. So those are the big two I would say: is Woo Themes framework and Genesis, just because of the speed. But other than that, I don't really have a favorite.
Great.
Favorite thing.
Let me just check one more time, see if we have any more questions. Okay, I don't see any on the website. Let me check over on Google Plus real quick. And nope, looks like we've answered them all. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up pretty much on time. We just ran over just a few minutes. So this has been another Google Plus Hangout. I'm Becky Songa, the online video marketer, and I've been talking with Simon Hunter from Remedy One about all things WordPress. We answered a lot of questions today. The replay will be available on my YouTube site probably within 24 hours. So I thank everybody who joined us today and everybody who sent in questions. It's always nice to be able to have that feedback and know what people are looking for and needing answers to. And Simon, I want to thank you for being with me today. It's great having you.
Thank you, Becky. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. And we will sign off.